Okay, so I welcome you everyone, whoever has joined the call here today and whoever will be watching the recording. I welcome you everyone and thank you for joining us today. Let me introduce myself. I'm Chinmay. I'm from the Let's Connect Working Group member. And before we officially start, I want to congratulate our team members, Bukola and Justice, who was a part of the Wiki and Lava conference since last week. And they represented our Let's Connect team and the impact to the conference participants. So huge claps and more love to all of you and to Bukola and Justice. Okay, so talking about the Let's Connect culture first. Why are we today here? We are promoting the good learning environment and culture in the Wikimedia movement. We are making the space more adaptable.
Sorry, Chino. We can't see your screen. Should I share my screen? Should I help you share this screen from my end?
Oh, yes, you can. I think.
Okay.
Let me disconnect. Okay, thank you, Bukola. Okay, so talking about the Let's Connect learning culture, this is open for all the volunteers and affiliate members and all the leaders in the Wikimedia movement, those who want to learn something from their peer supports and experts. What do? We focus on the important factors that determine positive results and also importantly the work we do. We also appreciate people to come here and experiment and do mistakes. We don't judge. We encourage people to participate in our learning clinics and have practical and conceptual knowledge among themselves and to spread it over to other people. We want to make this place more flexible and inclusive and interactive with everyone. And today we will be having here a learning time with Wikimedia Stories. And this is the third part of the session of this series, which will be facilitated by the Let's Connect team and Wikimedia Stories members. We will learn how to understand the working process of Open Refine, and we will also learn how to use the mass editing of dataset on Wikidata. We will have some hands-on exercises as well to learn this in a better way. And understanding the learning outcomes, we will gain basic understanding of Open Refine. We will get the introduction to the techniques of mass editing dataset in Open Refine. And also we will be learning about the streamlining process for data management tasks in Wikidata. Okay, we'll also establish the connection with Wikimedia Stories and the content partnerships hubs for the ongoing support. Looking at the agenda, are we still on time? Yes, we see we're still on time. So we will be going through for the first 15 minutes, the welcoming and icebreaker. Then there will be a presentation by the facilitators, Eric and Alicia, for 45 minutes. Then we will have a question answer round for 20 minutes. There will be an explanation of the practical exercise for 10 more minutes, followed by the practical exercise for 25 minutes. And if again, we will not be able to match all the questions addressed by the participants during the call, we will surely take it forward on the notes document or individually after the call. And then there will be a closing activity for 5 minutes. Okay, so let's start with our icebreaker.
Okay, thank you, Chino, for that brief introduction to what the session would look like. And now it's time for the icebreaker, and we have a very simple little task for everyone to try out, which is also related to how you manage data and also around how to clean up data, which all boils down to the use of Open Refine that we would be learning today from Alicia and Eric. So right about now, I'll drop the link to the Jamboard in the chat and also just show you how this exercise would look like. Okay. So I just dropped the link to the Jamboard in the chat, and you can access this Jamboard by clicking on this link. I see Chino has already shared it earlier. So for this task, if you look closely, let me try to see if I can. Can you see my screen very well? I just want to be sure.
Yes, Bukola.
Okay. Yeah, so for this task, we have a sample dirty data set, and it's about attendees, list of attendees for an international conference. And we discovered that this data set contains some typical errors and inconsistencies found in real world data. So the challenge is to identify and suggest correction for as many issues as you can using the Jamboard annotation tool. So take for example, like I said, this is a data set for attendees of an international conference. If you look at the first column and the row, you see that Anna Maria Santos filled her email address, right? And also the country is wrongly placed, is having a wrong information on that country. And for registration dates, we see that she had placed country, and then session sign up for events, you can see that they are all mixed up. So what we need you to do is look over these dirty data sets and identify any error that you can see in terms of what people have filled on the form. So you can do that by typing any observation using the sticky notes. So for the first one, Anna Maria had placed her email wrongly. So I'll say incorrect email, incorrect/incomplete email, correct/incomplete email address placed or filled by Anna Maria. So if you notice other wrong information or error, typographical error in this data set, so you can do that by just using the sticky notes. So we'll do this for, how many minutes do we have, Chino? So I want to... Yeah.
Yes, we have 10 minutes. So we can continue.
Thank you. Okay, so I want to see more comments on the sticky notes. So you can just look over this, and you can also suggest corrections or recommendations that could help us improve these data sets. So we are just trying to test out our skills, and it would be nice to see how we all interpret these errors differently. So you can either
increase the font a little bit, Bukola?
Okay, I'm trying to see how I can do that. Oops. So this is...
Otherwise, fine. Please continue.
And you can also just drop your comments in the chat box if having to edit this is proving a bit difficult. So please always try to use the sticky notes, not directly on the data set, but just beside it or directly where we have all the sticky notes. Okay, and just like I said, you can drop your comments in the chat if accessing the Jamboard is a bit difficult. And like I said, it's just about identifying the typographical errors, the inconsistency on these dirty data sets. Okay, so from the comments, I see some very interesting comments as replace brackets at with at, like the real at, and also incorrect slash, okay, and name of country in Portuguese, not English. Okay, so it's good that we have diverse participants from different country here, so they can also help us identify some other inconsistency or typographical error that someone who is not from Brazil or who doesn't speak Portuguese wouldn't be able to identify. So it's good. I love the way we are addressing and also interpreting the typographical errors that exist. So could split full name into first name and last name. Okay, that's also a good recommendation to improve this dirty data set. Okay, let's see what we have in the chat. Okay, I think that's a recommendation. Yeah, I also received that mail from Google on the possibility to discontinue the Jamboard. Yeah. Okay, Chino, please let me know once my time is up.
Sure.
Okay, I see some very interesting recommendation as well. Use standard date formats, year, month, and date. So that is a suggestion from the participants that in order to improve this dirty data set, then we should use standard date formats. And I also see a comment written in, not in English, so I might need to interpret that. Okay, in this column, country column of participants 001, it is written .com instead of the name of the country. Thank you so much for that observation. So this is a great observation to really help us improve this dirty data set, like I said. And if you have other maybe suggestions that you want to drop or recommendation to improve this data set, then you can still do that using the sticky notes by clicking on it and then just type in whatever you think would help improve this data set. Or kindly just use the chat box, like I said, to improve it. Okay, so from observation, I also noticed that some of the participants signed up for the session, but they did not include what they had signed up for to learn. So as you can see, some signed up for data cleaning, Wikidata integration, data management, but the attendee, Zhang Wei, did not include what he was going to learn. And this could also be very difficult for trainers who want to really ensure that they provide their participants with trainings that meet their needs. So for someone like Hang, it will be difficult for the trainer to know what training needs or what on-wiki skill or off-wiki skills that he requires. So that's why it's always very important that it's not just about creating the form, but also about participants really understanding the needed information that they need to complete, to ensure that the form, whether registration form or attendee form, has all the relevant information that could help organizers and trainers. So, and yeah, yes. So if we don't have any other suggestions to improve this data, I would hand over to Alicia to take it up from here. Thank you all so much for participating in this icebreaker, sorry, in this icebreaker, and it's also good that we are learning in the process. So thank you, and over to you, Alicia. So I'll just stop sharing my. Yeah.
I will do the obligatory am I sharing my screen thing? And here it is. I think it should be perfect. Thank you. If you can see everything all right, then. Thank you, everybody who joined us today. This is the third session in the series that we in Wikimedia Sweden are doing on the topic of editing Wikidata, especially with focus on cultural heritage data that is useful, for example, for those of you who organize or work with the Wiki Loves Monuments competitions. In the previous sessions, we looked at the basics of editing Wikidata. We looked at how the cultural heritage items are structured, as well as looked at some very useful tools such as PetScan, Listeria list, and how to write simple or more complex Sparkle queries. And in today's session, we will be looking at just one tool, OpenRefine, which is a very powerful piece of software that you can use to work with large data sets, analyze them in a spreadsheet-like interface, and also match the items in the data sets with Wikidata, edit existing Wikidata items, or create large numbers of Wikidata items from scratch. This is a very powerful tool. It's a bit complex, and it does take some time to learn how to use it efficiently. also every data set that you could be working with is different and it has its own quirks. So it is absolutely not my expectation that you will master OpenRefine today, but I'm going to show a little bit of what it is capable of. We at Wikimedia Listeria are supporting the community within our Content Partnership Hub initiative in working with cultural heritage data. And one example of what we have done was working with the lists of cultural heritage sites in Uganda, which are available on Wikipedia, and converting them to Wikidata items. And we did that with the help of OpenRefine. So today I'm going to demonstrate how I would start working with a similar data set. I have selected a very similar list that is the list of national monuments in Zimbabwe. You can see that there are a number of items here that possibly don't exist on Wikidata. Let's do a quick search. For example, this item does not exist. I could create manually, or I could create these items from scratch using OpenRefine. But first, a short introduction. OpenRefine is a piece of software that you can download and use it on your computer locally, or you can use it in your browser by logging in with your Wikimedia account. And this is the solution I'm going to demonstrate today, because this is the easiest way to get started. You don't have to download or install anything. I'm going to show the steps that are involved in working with a large data set. First, I'm going to show how to load the data into OpenRefine. I'm going to show some options that are available to clean it up. I'm going to talk a little about reconciliation, which is the process of matching the data to Wikidata to find out automatically what's on Wikidata or not. I'm going to show how to make a Wikidata schema, that is telling OpenRefine which parts of my data set correspond to which Wikidata properties. And hopefully I'm going to upload some data. Since this is a very short introduction, I would like to point out that if you want to start working on your own, there is really a number of great documentation pages and resources that are available. There is the excellent library carpentry course that I absolutely recommend. It's aimed at people in the library sector, but it is a great overview of the software. There are some tutorials on Wikidata, and there are also some interesting YouTube videos. I found one that I like in particular, that our Swedish friends Jan Einali and Albin Larsson do. They edit Wikidata live every week, and they have some episodes devoted to OpenRefine specifically. So this was a very short introduction, and now I'm going to start editing. I go to the PAUSE server, and I log in with my Wikimedia account. It starts quite quickly, as we can see. And once it has loaded, you will probably just see this. I have a lot of tabs here. Once it's open, I start Open Refine. And while this is opening, I am going to look at the list of national monuments in Zimbabwe. This is a table, and the easiest way to load a table into Open Refine is saving it as a spreadsheet, because spreadsheet data is easiest to work with in Open Refine. I copy all the content that are in here. I'm just using a little spreadsheet in Google Sheets to paste it here. I have a table and remove this row, and I download this as a spreadsheet file. And now Open Refine is opened. This is the start page. If I want to change the interface language, I go to language settings, and I can change it right here. As you can see, it's available in a number of languages. And I'm going to work in English. It wants me to create a project. It tells me that it supports a number of data formats. I choose the file I just created and click on Next. Now it's doing some magic, and it's parsing this spreadsheet. As you can see, it made a guess that this is the right sort of file, and it looks fine. This is just a preview. I give my project a little name so that I can find it later, because as you can see to the left on the screen, I can open a project I started earlier. It all saves it automatically. I don't have to click on save. I'm not going to lose it. And I create a project. This will take 8 seconds. And here we are. As you can see, the interface of Open Refine is very spreadsheet-like. I've heard people describe it as a spreadsheet on steroids, because you can do much more things here than you can do in Excel or something like this. The first thing I'm going to do here is to examine the data set. Very often, if you have a large data set, here we only have 21 rows, but you can work with a data set that 1,000 rows or 10,000, or I think once you reach something like 90,000, the interface can get a bit slow, but you can work with very large amounts of data. You want to, for example, find what are the most common locations of the monument. What are the monuments that do not have location? In a tiny data set like this, it's easy to see, but let's imagine that we're working with something much larger. I want to find out which locations are most popular. I'm going to use something called a passet. That is, Open Refine will group the locations and count them. I can sort this list so I can see there are 2 monuments with the location Harare. There's 1 monument with the location Bulawayo, and there are 13 monuments that where this field is blank. And I can do the same with other fields so that I can get some insight into which values are most popular. Since my task here is to create new Wikidata items, first I want to find out which of these have a Wikidata item. That is called reconciliation. I go to reconcile, start reconciling. I say I want to reconcile with data in English. Here it even makes some sort of educated guess based on a quick search of what sort of things these are. And I can limit my reconciliation to a particular subset of Wikidata items, or I can just tell it to reconcile against anything. And oh, it's a bit, move it so that I can click on start reconcile. Since this is a very small data set, it will go quite quickly. And here it is. As you can see, I have 4 items that were matched automatically, but I do not know how correct it was. Here I can see something that was probably matched very wrongly. So I can examine each of these matches by hand. Here I see national was matched in a cemetery. Here, oh, well, I can say this is completely wrong. So I go to choose new match and go live. I want to create a new item. Check this one. This is the, yes, this looks correct. And this one looks correct as well. Then I go to those who are not matched. And I can get a quick preview of these Wikidata items. And I can, why did it? What did it? Here it is. I can match this one and this one. And this didn't, so create a new item. Match this one. Create new item. Create new item. Create a new item. This one. This is a scientific article, so it's obviously wrong. You can create a new one. Create a new one. These are all wrong, so we can create a new one. I just browse very quickly. Create a new one here. And here. And here. Oh. here is a number of guesses. So I can go back to the Wikipedia article to see if there is something that can help me. This is just a village. There is, let's see. Could this one be the correct? Probably is. And create a new one and create one here. I refresh this. I have two that are left. And after this quick matching, I can see that I have 7 items that were matched and 14 that I want to create new items. But this one is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So it's very probable that it has a Wikidata item, but it is called something else. So I can search for match. I'm going to look at what this is called. And also match it. Well, no, because this is just an item for the rock art sites and not for the national park in general. So yeah. Then I also want to do the same with the locations. So, no, here it is. I can reconcile those. And I can see it matched one of the provinces. I can manually match the national park. And I can have a look at here it is. So now I have some locations and I have a list of new items that I want to create. Now every item on Wikidata is good if it has a description. We know what the descriptions are from our previous sessions. So I can create a column with a description here. I go to edit column and go to add column based on this column, and I'm going to just type in something like heritage site in. And this will mass add the same description to every item in this data set. Oh, it says you must enter a column name. So I say description English. But for example, I see in the case of some of these monuments, I also have a more specific location, not just the country. So I would like to add it to the description. I can manually edit every cell in this project. So I would like to add this one. And I would like to add this one. And I would like to add this one. In our icebreaker exercise, we looked at some data that needed to be cleaned up, and OpenRefine makes it possible to make this sort of simple string operations with just a couple clicks. Say I want to convert some text to lower or uppercase. There is a menu for transforming the content of the cells. And here you can see some options for things that people often have to use. For example, sometimes you have text that have some white space in the beginning and in the end. Sometimes you have some text with multiple white spaces in the middle. And there is also a number of choices for select for changing the case of the text. So I can, with just one click, convert the text to uppercase. But wait, I didn't want to do that. That's wrong. How can I remove it? Well, here in the left-hand column, there is a tab with undo, redo operations. Everything you do is saved in this history. So if you did something that's completely wrong, like I just did, you can just click on the previous step and remove your erroneous edits. So now let's say I want to upload these items to Wikidata. Let's say I only want to upload the items that have a location. So I need to make some sort of filter so that I only see the items that have a location. I can make a facet again. And first I select blank. This will choose all the items that don't have a location. And I can invert this. Now that I can only see the rows that do have a location, all of the operations I do on this tiny little subset will only be applied to this subset. So let's try changing the case of the description again. Oh, you can see I changed it to title case. So every word starts with a capital letter. I remove the filter. And you can see what I just did applies only to this little subset. And once again, I can remove what I did. And I only want to see the items with a location. You can see that when I did my reconciliation, I marked this as new Wikidata item. So the next step is creating a Wikidata schema. I have to tell OpenRefine how to convert this data to Wikidata statements. Here in the upper right corner, I have a little button with a Wikibase extension, and I go to Edit Wikibase Schema. the column in which I tell OpenRefine to create new Wikidata items is called site. So I say add item and drag site here. And every item should have a label and a description. Those are called terms, a collective name for labels, aliases, and description. So I add a term, I say label. I want it to be in English. So I want to add the labels from the site column again. So I drag it here. And I also want to add a description, which is also in English. And I had it right here. And I have a preview tab here, which tells me what operations will be done on Wikidata. You can see that 3 items will be edited. I will create 3 new items which have a label and a description, but they do not have any statements. So let's add them. I have a column with location. So I search for the property on Wikidata and drag it here. I want to, and I check again in the preview. I want to say that these items are located in the country, Zimbabwe. I search for the country property. Here it is. And you will notice I do not have a column with the country name in my data set. But since I know that all of the items have the same country, I can just type it here. I can, if I want to add the same item as a value of some statement to a batch of data items, then I can do it here directly. Where it is here. So the interface got a little, I think it's just my web browser that breaks something that just makes it look ugly. But in the same way, I can add the heritage status, because I know that this is a list of national monuments. And I have a Wikidata item for the national monument. So I can add, this will be called something like heritage designation for heritage status. Here it is. I look at the preview again. And I also want to add an instance of statement, which will be cultural property, which is like a very generic instance of statement that can be used if we don't have a more specific one. Not of Norway, not of Japan, just a general. So in this way, I check again in the preview. I'm going to create 3 items that are like this. in the schema, you will notice that it looks very, very similar to editing Wikidata. You type in properties and either drag a column that should be the value, or if you want to reuse the same value for everything, then you just search for the Wikidata item directly. So once you get a hang of it, it's quick to get used to it. Okay, I want to actually create those Wikidata items. Everything that I have been doing so far is just in OpenRefine. I haven't edited Wikidata at all. So in order to actually do those edits, I go to the extension menu again. And here it says upload edits to Wikibase. I guess it can feel a little bit confusing because Wikibase is the software behind Wikidata. So on it, please click. It wants me to log in, which I can do. And before it starts editing, it spits out some warnings at me. Ideally, if I was importing a data set from some sort of external source, I should add references. And it also reminds me that it will create new Wikidata items. And I should be mindful of that. I should make sure that they actually do belong on Wikidata. And it also makes the window so large that I have to move it. It also wants me to add a little edit summary. So testing, OpenRefine with, I'm ready. I click on upload edit. And now this was also very fast because I only had 3 items. So now I go to Wikidata and I look on my contributions. Look at my contributions. And here they are. As you can see in the edit summary, it also added a little text, a little link that says details. If I click on it, I go to a tool called Edit Groups. This is another very cool tool that gives you a little overview of large data batches that you have worked on. And OpenRefine is connected to this tool, so it automatically groups your edit and presents an overview. I can see when this batch was uploaded, how many items were edited or created, and you can get a whole list, which is very useful. If you go to edit groups, you can actually see what people are working with and what tools they are using. There are some people using OpenRefine, some people using quick statements, and so on. This is also very fun since you can get a sneak peek into what people have been doing. And let's look at one of the items that I have created. it has all of the properties I have added. Now I go back to OpenRefine, and you can see that in the left-hand column, which previously said that 3 items were marked for creation, now it says 0. Because, include this one. Because now it has automatically matched the items that I have created. Another thing that I would like to show very quickly is that you can import data from Wikidata related to the items that you have matched. For example, I want to see all the descriptions that are on Wikidata that these items have. This is called, oh goodness, where was it? Extension. Where were the data extensions? Here. Add columns from reconciled value. I want to get the descriptions in English. So I write D for description and EN for English. It's a preview. Okay. It will extend the data, and in this column I have the descriptions fetched from Wikidata for these items. So I can immediately see which of the items do not have descriptions on Wikidata. So if I want to edit, I can do that. In the same way, I can fetch their country to see which of them do not have a country statement on Wikidata. And then I just double check because sometimes match very badly, but I know that, and I can add it here. Another thing that I would like to point out is that OpenRefine has its own scripting language that you can use for manipulating data in more complex ways. For example, I showed how I change all the text in one column from lower to uppercase, and that was accessible from the menu. But sometimes you want to do more complicated things. I'm going to show in the documentation, in the user manual of OpenRefine. This language is called GREL. Here it is. Here it is. Or general refined expression language, which you can use, for example, to add or remove certain pieces of text. You can split text into smaller parts. I didn't show it because it deserves much more time, but I would like to point out that this exists, and I would like to point out that OpenRefine has really, really extensive documentation and user manual where you can dive in depth into the things that I just showed, such as exploring data with assets. That was the thing that I did to find out the most popular locations. Transforming data in cells and columns, reconciling with Wikidata, working with more complicated data manipulation cases. And I would once again would like to point out the library carpentry course, which also goes through all of these things in a lot more detail that we can do today. So that was a very, very quick and dirty introduction to how you can work with a data set from importing it to creating Wikidata items. Thank you. I hope you have a lot of questions that I'm going to dig in the chat.
Okay, Alicia, thank you for taking us through the steps, and it's also good to see the demo. For me, this is the first time that I'm encountering OpenRefine and like having to see how it works. So I really want to commend you for putting all this together. I know sometimes OpenRefine can be very difficult for most non-techies to understand, but I believe this provides like a very easy approach what OpenRefine is like. And now we move into the questions, because I know so many people have questions and comments. And we have also ensured to drop links to the Jamboard too, where we want you your questions and comments. And I'll be going over the Jamboard to see what comments we have there. And yeah, so you can click on the slide 3 now, not 2, because I see 3 or 4. So you have to go back. Okay, yes, perfect. So for your questions and comments, please do well to use the link to the Jamboard, or just drop your questions in the chats. So I'll drop the link again to the Jamboard for those who were unable to get access to the Jamboard slide 2. So if you find something very interesting for your work, or you have questions or comments, or you're still confused, then this is the best time to drop your questions in the chat, or just use the Jamboard. And if you would like to unmute to speak, it's also a welcome idea. We'd like to hear your beautiful voices. Yeah, so.
Absolutely, I can already address the question that is here. Is it possible to pack all these in a MOCC? That is an online course. This is technical and a bit overwhelming for non-techies and will need time to digest. I absolutely agree. And a self-paced course, perhaps on WikiLearn, will be a... this will happen. I can already say that Sandra Fauconnier, who is currently running a train the trainer course for people who would like to become OpenRefine educators, absolutely has this on her radar. I absolutely agree that this is something that would be very, very useful. So yeah, we are together looking on WikiLearn as a platform for that. Can I get the Wikipedia link? Can I get the Wikipedia link for Open Refine too? Oh, that is a very good question that I'm not sure, but I'm going to try. I'm going to oh, I'm just going to test if it works, and then I'm going to go through it again. This did not work. And there is a I remove this one. I'm going to experiment a little. No, this did not. No, I don't think I've ever done it. It's possible. It's possible, but now I'm just yeah, I cannot promise. Oh, type SN SN S S S S S S S. Is this? Yes, like this. Yes. Oof, this works. So I'll just do it again. I'll do it again. I have my column with reconciled items. I go to edit column, add columns from reconciled values. I type S, which stands for site link, and then I type, for example, FR Wiki to get site links to French Wikipedia. Okay. And this tells me which of these have articles on French Wikipedia. Oh, I'm glad I found this. I see we have people like Lucas, who has started the Open Refine Train the Trainer course. So what I just showed is, I think this thing should be possible to do in Open Refine, but I don't know how. So that was just and browsing. Also a very useful skill. It's just we Google and browse and scroll until we find something that sticks. I see some people came in late. It might be because of the time zone shift, wasn't it? because the previous sessions, the two previous sessions started at 5 p.m. my time, but this one started at 4 p.m. my time. So it's because of the switch to winter time. We have another comment. Seems like OpenRefine isn't just another Wikimedia tool, but a wider data tool, which is perhaps going to be useful in my usual data science projects. And that is absolutely 100% correct. OpenRefine, it used to be called Google Refine. When it was created, it was just a data manipulation tool. It only got Wikidata support later on. So it wasn't born as a Wikidata tool, absolutely not. And a lot of people use it for analyzing and cleaning up data, and they don't use the Wikidata extension at all. I know a lot of people who work with library catalogs, data journalists, museum people. They use it to just wrangle and clean up and sort data. I'm going to... There is like a whole community around OpenRefine, and a lot of those people are not Wikimedians. There are scientists and information experts. There is a discussion forum where you can chat with other users and even the developers if you have questions that you couldn't solve yourself. There is, if you're a coder, you can contribute to the development of OpenRefine. I would also like to point out that some time ago, I think about a year ago, OpenRefine also got support for Wikimedia Commons, which means it's possible to... Oh, I see that Gert said this at exactly the same time that I started saying this, which means that it's possible to actually upload images to Commons using OpenRefine. There's and you can use OpenRefine to add structured data to files on Commons. I showed structured data on Commons quite quickly in our last session, if I remember correctly. And that's things like depict statements, but also things like authorship, where the photo was taken, when it was taken. All of this is available as structured data. And instead of adding it manually, just clicking on every file one after another, you can batch add them to a set of files using OpenRefine. And I can see that we will be moving to the practical exercise. I know that this might have been a bit overwhelming. So in the Etherpad, I dropped a little suggestion. There is another set of monuments that you could improve on Wikidata, which is similar to the one that I worked on. So I suggest that you try to replicate what I just showed with this data set. And I'm going to also do this live with you so that you have some company and you can get some some guidance. There is a question about Wikimedia Commons here that I'm also going to answer quickly. I tried uploading pictures on Commons and it was hell for me. Before you used OpenRefine, are you supposed to have your pictures uploaded in your Google Drive? Well, the easiest way is to have the pictures locally on your computer, honestly. Because then you can put the local path of your files into OpenRefine. So, as I said, I'm going to start working on the where's my mouse? Here it is, on the Sierra Leone data set, and you can follow along so that you get a little repetition of what I've done. I have the list here, and like one thing that we can see is that it has much more data than the data that I worked with previously, which I like. I start by copying the data set into a blank spreadsheet. I'm saving it. I see that there are some. Here it was. See that something very weird happened. Oh, because it had these multiple coordinates. Move this. And move this here. This is also something that you will be doing with your data most probably, just pre-cleaning it and preparing it. Work. This looks fine. I can save it. And I can go back to OpenRefine. Here I am. I click on the logo to go back to the main page. And here I can see that my previous project was saved, even though I closed it. So I can return to it if I want to work on it later. and I upload my data file. It also looks fine. I give it a reasonable project name because, as you've seen in my project list, sometimes you don't remember what you called you. So it's good to have a more reasonable name. And here it is. Here it is. And I start by silent B. Here. Okay. Take a second or so. And then I just quickly check, is this reasonable? Island, there is. Yes, there is. Yes. Oh, here I got a suggestion in another language. So in German, but it's so country doesn't have an English Wikipedia article. So you can see that even though the label is in English, then OpenRefine still made a good attempt to find something that looks similar enough and ask me whether this looks good. And you can see it assigned it a matching score that is under 100%. So OpenRefine is 88% sure that is the right thing. And here's a similar one. Yeah, and it looks very nice. Here I'm going article. Something right here. Here. I'm not going to upload anything from this batch so that you can do all the fun work yourself. I'm just showing how I would work this. There are a lot of tombstones from the UK, which are obviously not correct. I can tell it to show me more rows on one screen. Here it matched the church. Here it didn't. Oh yeah, there are a lot of towers with a similar name. Very quickly. I can analyze this to see, oh, I just clicked wrong. I can analyze the data set to see which locations are the most popular. And I can see that all of the items have a location. I see there is a very nice comment. I'm going to follow the link, paste it here. This is the list of alumni of my college. This list is super unfinished. And since I am getting support from the real people from the college authority and the alumni association and the college library, I can really add tons of data with reliable references. Just need to learn Open Refine attentively. This is a great idea. This is a list of alumni of people in Bangladesh. And we know that in Open Refine, I'm just going to open the, we know that in Wikidata, you can indicate that someone graduated from a particular college by saying educated at. So using Open Refine, we can load this list into Open Refine, and we can mass add the educated at statement with references. We see that there are references, and as you said, you're getting help from the college library who can provide reliable sources. This can also be added using OpenRefine. Back to my, oh, I have so many tabs. That's okay. I'm going to, what I'm going to do, I'm going to reconcile the locations. Blah, blah, blah. This is this. Let's try this. And since I selected in that little reconciliation preview window that I want to match these strings to items that are districts of Sierra Leone, it didn't match, for example, Freetown because it's a town and not a district. So I do a little search and select here. And you will notice that here it says match all other cells with the same content. We have 9 monuments in Freetown, but I only have to do this once and not 9 times. But others are matched. I can look at things that were not matched. So I have to go back to Wikipedia and Wikidata to see what this thing is actually called on Wikidata. Here I can see it's called label. Same with dumpling. This. those are the filters. One thing that I can see in the descriptions is that they sometimes end with a full stop and start with a capital letter, while in Wikidata the praxis is to start the descriptions with a lowercase letter and not end it with a full stop. So I'm going to mass edit it. I go to edit cells and can I find it in common? I don't want to select two lowercase because then, as you can see, it will transform all the text, which I obviously don't want to do. I go back. And undo this. I only want to take the first character of this string and convert. So I go to edit cells and select transform. And here I demonstrate how I do a more complex string transformation. I can choose to write my code in Grell, which is the coding language used for OpenRefine, and I can look up some useful recipes. Or if I know Python, I can write my transformations in Python, or I can use another program like Clojure. I am going to use Grell. I want to take the first. I want to take the first character. So I say, give me the 0 character, because in programming, we start counting from 0. And I say 2 lowercase. And then I want to append the rest of the string. Maybe something like this. I actually can't write Grell at all. I'm going to check the reference, obviously. Oh yeah, here it is. I have to use a function called substring. And I can experiment with it. You can see I start from 0, so it contains all substring. Just 1. And -1 is a shorthand get. Oh. To remove the. Oh, but I can't say it here because this one doesn't end with a full stop, so it will cut off the last character. So I want to go to like this. It will all so this will only replace the first. Here it did. But I also want to remove the full stop. So I need to find a function to find the last character of the string. And I'm going to create a filter to get the last character of this. So I can go to, I'm going to create custom value and with full stop. And it says that there are 14 rows where the description ends with a full stop. So I'm going to now only work on these. And I want to get the value from 0 to 0 to where I put the substring. Now we can see that in these items that where the description ends with a full stop, I want to get the description from the beginning to the second last character. And this is how I cleaned up the description. I'm now going to filter these to only look at items that I have marked to create as new. So I go to the reconciliation facet. I showed you facets previously. These are like those filters where you can look at only a subset of items. And I want to facet this data set by the reconciliation judgment, which is what this is called. And I only look at items that I have marked for creation. So now let's imagine I want to create these new Wikidata items. I'm not going to upload this data, but I am going to edit the Wikibase schema to show once again how I do this. I see that the column side holds the reconciled items that I have marked for creation. The terms, that is the labels and descriptions, which are in English. And let's see if there is a Wikidata item for the national monument. Oh, there isn't. So I can't add a heritage state unless it's called something completely else. I look at the existing Wikidata items to maybe find an item for we have just a couple more minutes to find an item for national monuments. Well, it doesn't exist. So if I actually want to add a heritage status to those, I would have to create a new item for a national monument of Sierra Leone in a similar way that there is an national monument of Zimbabwe. So those are the things that you discover once you start editing. There are things that you need to add to Wikidata. But what I can add is that say that this is a cultural property. And again, I have values that are identical for all the items. And I keep the location. So in this very quick way, I can structure up the data item. I'm going to have a look through the chat now. To see what you've been writing. Yeah, I'm also Jamboard. The library department, of course, is very useful. So you have another person who is very happy with it. But how are you guys doing? I would like to hear from you. You're not just looking at me, I hope. I hope you are experimenting with something on your own. I would like to hear. What are you guys working on?
Okay, considering this dead silence by the participants to be a positive experiment. Okay, so
Everyone is busy.
Thank you, Elish. It was a wonderful session. In fact, most of us from the working team member also, we learned how to do this data ingestion, reconciliation, data cleanup. And these are the first time we are seeing this as a live example. So it's very much fruitful for all of us. And you also covered some most important, like, effective tools, like how to use the edit proofs, matching of items, introduced us to the open refine community, which is also important for all of us to know more about something. Thank you so much for giving us this much insight about the open refining tool, not only in the Wikimedia community, but also for some other open source communities where people can get involved and have more insights. And to all the participants, thank you once again for staying with us and making it more effective. Hope we will all gather soon to learn more on this. And just to announce, this was the third session on Wikidata and this open refining sessions. So we will have this recordings uploaded on the Let's Connect YouTube channel as well as MetaPage under the resources section, you can find all the resources and the YouTube recordings. We have a quick feedback request to everyone who has joined the call. Here I'm pasting the Mentimeter link. You can go here and provide your feedbacks. Also, if everyone has any pending, like, question, request, or something which you are practicing and facing issues with, you can drop your concerns and questions on the Etherpad link. And somebody from the team or Alicia will be addressing those.
Absolutely. We have about 5 minutes.
Yes.
Do make sure.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I learned the cycling function as well.
That's what I wrote. It's fun to learn new things at work.
Yeah,
it becomes memories.
Yeah, it's just there are so many things, and you're like, yeah, this should be possible. I think I've seen someone do it, and you just experiment and type in things until something sticks, and then you forget it until the next time. Let's have a look at the cycling function once again to find the Wikipedia articles of these places in Sierra Leone. I go to edit column and add columns from reconciled values. I type in S, which stands for site link, and then I choose Swedish Wikipedia. I can see in the preview already that I'm going to get some matches. And now I can see which of these places have or do not have Swedish Wikipedia articles. And once again, this was just a very short introduction. There is a lot of resources where you can find out things that I haven't even touched upon. For example, you can, the way that I just showed to import data from Wikidata, that works not only with Wikidata, you can, if you have access to some sort of external open API from which you would like to import more data, then you can connect to an API as well to extend your data. There are tutorials about how to create a bit more about some a bit more complex schemas. For example, if you work with data in other formats than just a regular spreadsheet, sometimes you import data from a JSON file or from an XML file, and OpenRefine supports that as well. But even something as simple as the basic editing. You will learn a lot from this. Here, Gert just dropped an interesting link to obtain labels, descriptions, and aliases from reconciled items, which I'm going to bring on my screen.
Okay, just to highlight the time check, Alicia, we are closing the recording.
Yes.
Here. Okay, thank